Welcome to Barbara's Bulletin, the podcast where we delve into the most pressing stories of the day. I'm your host, Barbara, and I'm glad you're joining me for another informative episode. Today, we're focusing on a developing story that's garnered international attention: the escalating conflict between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. The situation is complex, with both sides trading accusations and engaging in military actions that have resulted in significant loss of life and widespread destruction. According to reports, Israel has launched a new offensive, codenamed Operation Gideon's Chariots, which aims to target Hamas strongholds in Gaza. The operation has already led to the deaths of thousands of Palestinians, many of whom are women and children. Israel claims that Hamas is using civilians as human shields, while Hamas denies these allegations. The conflict has also drawn in other countries, with the U.S. backing an Israeli plan to distribute humanitarian aid through private contractors and protected by Israeli troops. However, aid agencies have expressed concerns about the feasibility and potential consequences of this plan, citing fears of forced mass transfers of populations. The international community is increasingly vocal about its concerns regarding the situation in Gaza. The UN Human Rights Chief, Volker Turk, has stated that Israel's bombing campaign appears to be aimed at bringing about a permanent demographic shift in Gaza, which would be equivalent to ethnic cleansing and a defiance of international law. These sentiments have been echoed by the UN Secretary-General, Antonio Guterres, who is calling for a permanent ceasefire. As we navigate this complex and sensitive topic, it's essential to consider multiple perspectives and strive for a balanced understanding. We'll continue to monitor developments in Gaza and provide updates as more information becomes available. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. We're glad you're still with us as we dive into the latest developments from around the world. In our middle segment today, we're focusing on the escalating tensions between Russia and Ukraine and the international community's efforts to broker a peaceful resolution. We've just received word that Russia has launched its largest drone attack on Ukraine since the start of the conflict, with multiple regions affected, including the capital city of Kyiv. The Ukrainian military has reported that they've intercepted several drones, but unfortunately, one person was killed and several others injured in the attacks. This latest escalation comes just days after peace talks between Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, which were facilitated by international leaders. Despite these efforts, it seems that a lasting ceasefire remains elusive. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump is set to speak with President Putin on Monday, in a call that's being closely watched by the international community. Ahead of this conversation, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has announced that he, along with the leaders of Britain, France and Poland, will be speaking with President Trump to coordinate their positions and ensure a unified front. It's worth noting that these diplomatic efforts are taking place against a backdrop of increasing tensions between Russia and the West. There have been reports of Russian-linked sabotage and espionage attempts in several European countries, including Germany and the UK. As we continue to monitor this developing story, it's clear that the situation remains complex and volatile. We'll be keeping a close eye on any further developments and bringing you updates as more information becomes available. In the meantime, we want to hear from you. What do you think is the key to resolving the conflict between Russia and Ukraine? Should the international community be taking a more aggressive stance against Russian aggression, or is diplomacy still the best approach? Share your thoughts with us on social media using the hashtag #BarbarasBulletin. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to the closing segment of Barbara's Bulletin. As we continue to follow the developments in Eastern Europe, we turn our attention to Romania, where a presidential election is underway. Our story today takes us to the Romanian diaspora community, where many are eagerly watching the events unfold from abroad. According to reports from France 24, Gaza de Nielsen, I did not subdisor daus pai, and the measures. Romanians living outside of their home country are keenly interested in the outcome of this election. With a significant number of Romanian citizens residing in other European countries, their votes could potentially sway the results. We've seen a similar trend in other countries, where expatriate communities have played a crucial role in shaping the outcome of elections. In Poland, which is also holding a presidential election, security concerns are looming large over the vote. As we discussed earlier, the country's proximity to Ukraine and the ongoing conflict there have raised concerns about potential external interference. The Trump era and its impact on global politics are also being closely watched by Poles as they head to the polls. As Pope Leo XIV celebrates his inaugural Mass, he's urging unity for a divided church and vowing not to be an autocrat. This comes at a time when many Europeans are looking for leadership that can bring people together, rather than drive them further apart. The Pope's message of peace and justice is resonating with many, particularly in the context of the ongoing war in Ukraine. As we wrap up today's Barbara's Bulletin, it's clear that there are many complex issues at play in Eastern Europe right now. From elections to security concerns, and from religious leadership to global politics, there's no shortage of news to follow. We'll continue to bring you updates and analysis on these developing stories as more information becomes available. That's all for today's Barbara's Bulletin. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay engaged.